So what would you say is the best way to get a client right now?
Well, the answer to this question for me, here we are.
And yes, people. So today it's something a bit different. We're doing a little podcast with one of my best friends, Jason, who we've recently been living together. But yeah, something new. We got some Balinese wine. Kawa.
Kawa.
Don't know what it is, but the guy in the shop suggested it, so we're going to go for it. It's like £4. But yeah, today we're going to be diving into e-commerce. Jason's scaling his agency to 10k per month and living in Bali. What the hell's going on? Why are we here? What we're doing? So this is the infamous Jason. Why you're here? What you're doing? Tell us a bit about them yourself and crack on.
Yeah, so I guess I've been running my own email marketing agency now for the last year, but that's not where the business obviously started. I've been doing marketing for the past 5.5 years. Started out just trying to be like a jack of all trades, learning how to just run everything, Facebook ads, email marketing, website development, everything. But in the last 2 years, I kind of really moved towards email marketing, and that's what my entire business is based around now. So yeah, that's my main focus. And the reason I'm in Bali, kind of like same as everybody else, is Bali is just an amazing place. It just has so much opportunity, and you get to meet amazing people like me and you met here. So yeah, it's a good place.
So yeah, when I first met Jason, because we moved into the villa together, he basically came at like a different stage that he is now. So that's basically why I wanted to talk to him, because within 6 weeks, he's managed to get over the 10k per month mark. And in my head, the 10k per month mark is quite significant because it enables you to travel, do what you want, live life how you can really. But yeah, so at what point, when you came to Bali, what had you been doing prior? For example, like, what had you been doing? Because obviously you've been traveling and stuff. How did that affect your business? And then what point were you at when you got to Bali?
Yeah, well, before I got to Bali this time, because I actually lived in Bali for a year last year, but when I got there this time, I was actually traveling in Barcelona. So I was in Spain for 2 months with my friend, and that was always just a big dream of mine. So earlier in the beginning of this year, I had this like dream. I really just wanted to get to Europe because coming from South Africa, which is where I'm originally from, it's really difficult to travel to Europe. Like, we have to go through so much approval process to get a visa, and it always seemed like a huge obstacle for me to be able to get to Europe. So I got there. To be honest, I was not in the best state financially to be able to just travel however I wanted, but that was the goal, was just to get there, like no matter what it took. And somehow, the universe let me get there. When I came back to Bali, though, it was a really tough situation because I had like 2 bad months in business. Agency wasn't doing so good. I had one big retainer client that I'd been able to keep working with for the last 8 months. But besides that, there was a lot of ups and downs in the business. So yeah, I came to Bali with literally like the last money that I had, just
Nice.
with this idea in my mind that as long as I can just get there, things will work. Things will just work themselves out. Because what I knew about Bali from the last time that I had been here is just that there's so many amazing people in Bali. It just has a completely different energy about it, and it just allows you to really network with amazing people. So
yeah. So just describe like the business model you just decided to go for. So why did you choose? So Jason does email marketing agency. So in the e-commerce space, you've got drop shipping, building a brand. Agency, so under the agency umbrella, which is where you basically work for a company, but you have multiple clients. So you got email marketing agency, Facebook agency, where you run ads, Google agency, TikTok agency,
CRO
content agency. Yeah, CRO agencies like
it's like agencies for anything, bro.
Yeah, like landing pages. But yeah, so how come you decided to do email marketing agency? And I'm going to tell you some benefits and advantages, I reckon, of email marketing agency as well.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I got to start by saying I never really wanted to run an agency. Like 2-3 years ago, my whole goal was always to just build like affiliate marketing or to do e-commerce. And, this perception I had in my mind is that agencies were a lot of work. You have to deal with annoying clients. And there was like all these bad associations that I had with it. But it's interesting how my entire view of looking at it has changed in the last 2 years, where instead of seeing it as something that is like beneath running an e-commerce brand or something, I see that it's more about, so it's not about the business model, it's more about the business owner. Like anyone could, like if you're a good business owner, you can make whatever business you're in work. And an agency is just like any other business. There's a ton of problems that come up. You have to deal with clients, your team members. There's quality assurance control. You have to go and find clients. So there's like all these skills involved in lead generation. The reason that I started with an email marketing agency specifically is because before, as I mentioned, I was just jack of all trades, but like a master of none. So back when I was living in Cape Town, I had like two clients that I was working with, and I was literally just doing everything for them. I would be like, yo, I'll run your ads, I'll create the landing page, I'll set up the email marketing for you, I'll set up, I'll split test on the website, create this pop-up, like just, I would do anything that was necessary. And I was never really a specialist. So it was not a good situation. I couldn't figure out how to get out of that type of situation, right? Then my friend said to me, look, the best thing that you could possibly do is just master a skill, master one specific skill that you can say, I'm one of the best at this specific skill. So I decided to do email copywriting. That's originally what I looked at, because copywriting, yeah.
What is email copywriting for the audience?
So copywriting is it's essentially writing words that sell. So I come from like a direct response background. There's all of these. So direct response.
So what's direct response? I don't even know what direct response is, to be fair.
Okay, so in the 1960s, all these there was all these hardcore advertisers, and what they would do is send out mail, or they would send out mail, like physical mail, to people's houses, and they would literally get people to read these pieces of mail to actually buy something. So it was a really intense skill set, because there's so many things that can go wrong between you sending out the mail and someone actually like sending back money. So they really had to know what they were doing to get every single person. Like, the idea is that they would read the headline, and then as soon as they read the headline, that would make them read the next line. And then when they read that line, it would make them read the next line. So they just get sucked into the...
So they basically took the direct response name and put it onto the digital world as well.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Fair,
direct response means we're trying to get a response right now.
Okay.
It's kind of like a form of advertising where you want the person to stop whatever they're doing and just immediately click the button or click the link. Yeah.
Back to the point of you saying you decided to become a specialist, how did that help your business? And before you start, I'll say, if someone, because this is like, he's agency owner, I've got the e-commerce brand, so it's two different pillars. So if someone came to me and was asking to work for my company, but they're not working, but help my company grow, and they're like, oh, we do this, we do that, we do that, we do that, I'm like, nah, mate. I just wouldn't even look at it or employ it, because the best way as an employer or a company owner is you want someone who's a specialist better than you. Because when I started the brand, I knew like a little bit of everything, but I wasn't amazing at anything. Do you know what I mean? So I want people like Justin, who's special. Jason, it's like we're on a date and I forgot your name. I'm very sorry. I don't know if I can say that. But yeah, I need someone like Jason, who's specialist at emails, to basically like tell me they can do better than I'm doing already. Because I would say emails. So basically the offer is for an email agency, you go to an e-commerce brand and you basically tell them, we'll set up your email flows, which is like automated response. So if someone goes onto a website and gives you your email, they'll get a set of email flows to basically sell them to products and make sure they get closed, basically. And it's honestly, I would say email marketing agency is one of the most important things. And then the other part of the offer is basically they manage your monthly campaigns, where they send like 10 to 15 campaigns per month to basically warm up your customers, keep them interested. So a company with an email list, it's like a personal social media. Like, it doesn't cost you anything to send emails. The customers, you can just keep sending emails, whatever you want. There's no bans, there's nothing. Like, it's your own personal asset, which actually increases the value of a company. So every company needs email marketing. Yeah,
I like to think of email as like the core customer communication engine, because every single person that buys...
That sounds super smart.
But every single person that buys from an e-commerce website is going to put their email address in. That's one of the fundamental things that they're going to use to get contacted. And so anyone who engages with your brand is going to be on your email list, and that's where you can actually speak with them. The difference with like social media is the fact that you don't actually own the audience. So a lot of the times you're only going to reach a small percentage of the people.
That's very true.
Yeah. So you've got 30K followers on Instagram. You'll find you only get like 2,000 likes, even though, I mean, you got all these people, they're not even seeing your post, because Instagram like limits the amount of reach that you can get. So that's why email marketing is, it's great.
Yeah. So off the tangent, the question was, how did specializing in one skill help you like achieve the results? Because yeah, I've been watching Jason because we moved in together. We've been living together for 6 weeks now. I think living together with people in the same industry is the best thing you can do as well. But I saw him, he's made a lot of progress and he's doing extremely well. But yeah, what did specialize in, and when you got to Bali, what was your game plan to get to 10K per month from just having 2 clients?
Yeah.
In 6 weeks, by the way. It's impressive. It's impressive.
There's a lot of questions, you know.
That was six questions in one.
But yeah, the first one is about like how did specializing change things for me? So I can just say like it was like exponential, honestly, because before that, people used to just, well, the clients that I would work with when I was kind of just a solo team, just managing clients, they didn't really take me seriously. Like I would have a lot of skill and I have a lot of like passion that I would put into the work, but because I was just kind of stretched very thin, I was just doing all parts of their business. I never really felt like I was really, really good at any one particular thing, and so I was always unsure of myself as well. When you become a specialist, because you just spend all of your time just focused in on solving one specific type of problem for your marketplace, just like you said, yeah, you wouldn't hire someone who just says they can do everything, right? And the reason is because it looks very amateurish. It's like, when I first started, I used to say, I'm just good at everything. Like, just tell me what you want. I'm going to help you to do it. And you see people like this on freelancing platforms. Like, they're like, I'm a developer and I can help with the website and translation. And like, they'll just like do whatever job you need them for. But that person's never going to have a lot of value because they're kind of just like trying to mold themselves to whatever you want versus saying like, look, this is what I'm extremely good at. And so only come to me if you want help with this specific thing. That's what I can help you with. For someone else, for another task, you don't have to work with me. You know?
So being a specialist would definitely help you getting a client.
Yeah. But then from there, so basically what happened is when I left Cape Town, I came to Bali and I started email copywriting. So just going back to that part of it, that's when I really started like raising my income, because for the first time in my life, like, I was actually very afraid to be a specialist, I won't lie, because at first I thought I was going to sacrifice like opportunities.
That's crazy you thought that, because email marketing agencies, I reckon, are one of the best.
Yeah, but think about it, right? Like when you come from a place where you would try and help people with Facebook ads and their website and all these different areas, and then you say, no, I'm only going to focus on one thing, it kind of feels like, whoa, like I'm saying no to a lot of opportunities to make money. And that's very scary. You might think like I'm going to make less money.
That goes back to the famous point of like, you got to learn how to say no. Iman Gadzhi always says it.
Yeah, but so that's the thing. But when I started actually saying no to clients, I actually like left all of my old clients and just completely started new with email marketing or email copywriting. And very, very quickly, I mean, it was incredible like how I was able to build up a client base that knew me as an email copywriter. And I was able to charge much, much higher rates because suddenly I knew exactly the value of what problem I was trying to solve. Sure. And I was the best. You know, I positioned myself as the best. So
that's good to hear. So basically, like the biggest pain point of like starting an agency is obviously getting the clients. It's the hardest thing to do. Anyone can learn how to deliver the service. Obviously, there's levels to it, but everyone can learn how to deliver the service. But getting the clients, like the more difficult thing. How did you do that, and how did Bali help you? Because I genuinely, Bali's a good place for this sort of stuff because you come here, everyone does some sort of online business, so you're not in the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what I will say is that even though I had come to Bali and I was able to get all these clients very quickly, I think that the answer to that question actually starts way before I came to Bali, because it was right in the beginning of this year where so before I used to use Upwork, that freelancing platform, you know, that's kind of where everyone starts out in the beginning. That was the main way I used to get clients. That really helped me in the beginning because it obviously allowed me to grow my income and like specialize very quickly. But this year I just said to myself, I don't want to be reliant on this platform. So I completely went off the platform. And this was an extremely, extremely hard, difficult year because I kind of had to figure everything out for myself, you know? So I was like out in the wild trying to find clients.
I would just like to say that Upwork is a very good place to start, and you still can get really good clients from that. However, I would say they're definitely a little bit less high ticket. But I've hired people from Upwork and paid them a decent amount.
Yeah, no, you can get good clients from Upwork. The only thing with Upwork, right, is like when I started on there, I was charging, originally, I charged $20 per email. And then at some point, I was so confident and I had so many clients, I just doubled it to $50 per email. And then from 50, I went to 100. And then when I went to 100, like that's when I started noticing, well, the limits of like Upwork for my specific industry, because there was like 90% of people applying, like looking for someone who could help them at $20 or $50. There's very, very few people that are on Upwork specifically trying to find someone that is like an actual expert. That
Okay,
can,
so how did you find the bigger clients
well, I had
willing
to
to
move
pay a
off,
better
yeah.
retainer?
Yeah, well, I had to move off of Upwork, and the way that you find clients that are willing to pay what you're worth is you have to be able to separate yourself completely from everybody else, and then you're kind of charging whatever you want because it's your own offer. When you're on Upwork, there's 100 people applying to the same job
Yeah.
post, so they get to pick and choose and say, oh, this person's cheaper, and it's
Kind of like
yeah.
Amazon FBA. So if you're deciding to sell a product on Amazon, you're competing at price, not branding. So that's the difference between Amazon FBA and drop shipping.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's exactly it. That was the
Yeah.
big change, is that suddenly I had to figure out my branding and how to actually position myself as different, and then go out after clients that were not specifically in the market, or they weren't like directly looking for someone on a freelancing platform, but I knew that they had the problem. And so I had to make contact with them, get their attention, and somehow educate them enough that they will be willing to have a conversation. And then from there, I'd be able to, get them as a client, you know? So that was pretty much the start of this year. And this goes back to your point now of when I came back to Bali. I was able to get, seven new clients in 6 weeks?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
it was crazy.
really good. Really good.
I mean, I had kind of a fire under my ass because,
Yeah.
as I said, when I first got to Bali, there was all the money.
So
I had,
I'm going to be real.
you know.
This guy works like ridiculous amount. Obviously, the amount of time he works, it's not a flex. Like you don't make more progress if you're working harder. It's how you work. However, Jason was in a situation where he wanted to prove to himself, and putting into those hours affected him caused him to become more successful in the space of 6 weeks. So hard work, I think, when you're in that certain stage, so let's say you were doing like 3 to 4K per month, right? When you are at that stage, 3 to 4K per month while you're traveling, like it's a good amount, but obviously you want more to be able to do what you want. But he felt like he was in that stage where he needed to push really fast, really hard, and hours do affect that. Like when I was in my first stage of starting dropshipping and e-commerce, I basically sat in an office for like 6 months. I got really fat, really fat. Didn't go to the gym because obviously COVID was happening. Basically sat inside this office eating like sausage rolls, Burger King. It was terrible.
Just working,
yeah, Jason didn't do that on the other hand. He was eating well, going to the
Yeah.
gym, etc. But you got to put the hours in when you're first starting because there's definitely a lot to learn. Like there's a lot of angles. And then regarding the agency as well, like client outreach takes a lot of time. You're going to get a lot of no's.
90% no as well.
Yeah.
99%. I don't know. It's like it's really high amount. You know, that's kind of part of the skill set, right? Is that you really need to learn how to not take rejection personally, because a client not responding to you or not deciding to work with you is not a direct affront to you personally. It's just they're busy, you know, they're running their business. They've got tons of people reaching out to them. This is also the interesting thing. I mean, you can attest to this as an e-commerce brand owner. You have tons of people trying to reach out to you.
Yeah, loads. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the best way to get a client right now? Because this is the biggest question. There's a lot of people on social media pushing social media marketing agency as a course right now. So basically, they're selling you the Matrix idea. They're selling you the top 1% idea. It's massive right now. And there's a lot of people buying this stuff. And the biggest pain point is, like, as a brand owner, I'm not going to employ anyone without any experience. Like, there's a million kids. I get so many messages per day of like, I'll create you content. I'll run your Facebook ads. I'll run your emails. I'll do this. I'll do that. And half the time, it's really easy to tell who's got experience or not. So what would you say is the best way to get a client right now? And then I'll tell you mine as well.
Well, the answer to this question for me has like changed a lot over the last year. But the way that I see it right now is that honestly, if you want to really get a lot of clients in, this is kind of what I'm figuring out right now. But you have to get those initial clients. Like it's no matter who you are, you might get a bit lucky in the beginning and get some clients, but that's going to be the hardest part. But once you can actually get some good results for your current clients, every single e-commerce brand owner knows at least 10 other e-commerce brand owners. And so when you are delivering an amazing service for them, they're going to want to return the favor for you. And I really think that that's one of the ways of client acquisition that I overlooked this entire year, was actually just be really, really good and deliver an exceptional service for them. And then they're going to naturally want to return the favor to you and tell their friends about it.
So basically getting any experience you can. So when you're first starting off, you want to take the bad jobs, you want to take the small jobs, because that's how you need to start. Obviously, once you've got experience and you're making good money, the smaller clients are the worst clients because they ask for more help, they require more time, they're harder to get results for. Bigger clients will pay you 10K and not even question anything.
So true, yeah.
But you need to do that at the start because you need the experience. So in my opinion, I've just started a Facebook agency as well. We've got a few clients. I just started it literally 6 weeks ago. But in my opinion, the best way to get clients now is you want people to come to you. It's easier to get the yes then. It's a warm lead. So how do you get people to come to you? By building a personal brand or working with other agencies on a referral scheme basis. So personal brand. How can you build a personal brand? YouTube. Twitter is probably the number one space right now to build a personal brand. TikTok, all of that. So you basically want to build a social media presence and tell everyone what you're doing. This will get you clients. Ignore all your friends being like, this guy's a weirdo. Why is he trying to sell me content creation? This guy's a fool. He's making money. This fool is making money. But you want to build the personal brand, because if someone books in a call with you, they're coming in as a warm lead. You're not reaching out to them, hi, mister, please, can I run your ads? It's it's different. If they're booking a call with you, they know what you're about, they know what you can do. It's so much easier to close them. There's less of a conversation. Yeah. And then on the other one, this is what I've been doing as well. It's super, super good. When you've got that personal brand, you connect with people in the space. So for example, Jason's got an email marketing agency. I've got a Facebook ads agency. If Jason gets 20 clients this month and 4 of them need Facebook ads, he will pass those clients on to me and I will give him a percentage of those clients as well. And if I get 20 clients this month and they need emails, let's say 10 of them, I'm going to pass them on to him and he's going to pay me a reoccurring referral fee. So build a personal brand, get into the space, let the people come to you. That is how you close clients.
100%. Yeah, no, that's exactly it, right? And this goes back to that point, when you are creating your own personal brand and you're positioning yourself as the authority leader, that's where the real skill comes in client acquisition, because anyone can send out a cold email, but I really think that when you achieve mastery in your brand and you have a really established agency, those guys are able to position themselves as different than everybody else in the marketplace, and it's very, very difficult to compete with them because they're so charismatic. You can see that they're an expert. You can see the results that they're getting. You can see their branding, and I think that's the upper limit.
Yeah, there's a pre-trust. So before the call's booked, or when the call's booked, there's a trust between the people, because the guy booking the call is already this guy's good. He's got experience. And I'll say that from my point of view as well. I've always booked calls with people, personal brands, whatever, and I'm always going into the call knowing what they can do, and that's just all right, what's your offer, how much is it, all right, sweet, I can pay that, let's go. There's no questions asked. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, same with referral clients. When you have a client that just sends you one of their friends or a referral, it's super easy to close that client because he already trusts you. He already has that. You already have that rapport built. Yeah. Same way, if someone's been watching your content or they've already just seen you have a legit brand, they're I'm ready to go. Just tell me the price, tell me what we need to do. And
yeah, no question asked, because it's basically a testimonial in one. So this guy's really good. Here you go. And they're working with each other already. So. Yeah.
But one thing I will say on that is that it sounds good. But if you're just starting out, you can't kind of really fast forward that process. You can't just skip to being an authority leader in your space. You have to build your way up there. And so that's where, in the beginning, the different outreach methods for example, in the beginning of this year, when I started with the officially e-commerce only email marketing agency, I just did a lot of cold email, and I applied all my skills that I learned from the previous year doing completely different emails than what other people had done. And I was able to get the first 3 clients. That kind of stopped working though, because I can imagine maybe it just got more saturated or whatever had happened. But that allowed me to at least get my initial foot in the door so that I could start bringing results. And then I was able to then use those results to then show clients, build my team up, build up the processes, the systems, so that I could be more of an authority figure and know what I was actually talking about, you know?
Yeah. Going back to the word systems, this is a very key word which no one talks about. So there's a lot of people teaching online, but no one teaches you about the back end. Like, I would say the back end of the business is the most important. So in regarding to dropshipping and e-commerce, I couldn't scale to good numbers without a good back end. Without a good back end, I would have a lot of refunds, terrible customer service. It'd be a terrible thing. So regarding the back end on like the email stuff as well, like, how did you learn how to build systems? Because no one teaches it. You got to sort of figure it out for yourself. How did you learn it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a super fascinating topic. And the way that I learned how to build systems was through trial and error. A lot of the times it's through building really inferior systems and then seeing that they didn't work and then improving all the parts. And eventually you get good at it. But the way that you get good at building systems is you just need to really think about everything that happens from the moment that you bring on a new client. So, for example, when I start working with a new brand, I've got a long document that I send to them with questions that I've already known from working with previous clients. These are all the questions that I always have to reach out to them and ask them. So I get all of those done in the beginning. Once that's done, I have an entire process set up for my team. So everybody gets briefed on exactly what the client does. They all go and do research, because research is like a huge part of this.
Yeah, because obviously it's super important for you to be sending the right emails in the branded way of the company. So you need to get key data like what's their selling point, what's their vision. These are key questions an agency owner needs to know.
So I guess I don't think there's really any shortcut to building systems. Like I definitely read a lot of books on it. One book that was very helpful called E-Myth Revisited. And that book kind of spoke about how McDonald's was able to build its processes to the point where literally an 18-year-old with no prior, like 16-year-old with no prior experience could still run their machine efficiently, because that's what it is. Like, you want to essentially get to the point where it's so good, it's just a machine. It's just client comes in, emails come out, results come out, and everyone's happy. And the more systematized you can make it, the less you are involved in the day-to-day processes, and you're more operating at a high level, making sure that the overall machine is working correctly, that each part is like doing exactly what it should. So yeah.
Okay, so I'd say another thing. So a very important thing to scaling a business is hiring. You've got to build a team. It takes a long time to learn. Like, obviously, no one's teaching you how to do this in like a direct way. Like, you didn't have a specific mentor telling you this is the exact model. But hiring the right people is very hard. How did you find the people to hire, and how did you split that up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hired for every like good person that I've hired, I've probably hired like 5 or 6 people that just did terrible job or just completely wasted my time and spent like 2 weeks training them, and then they just leave. So there's a lot of like bad people that you have to sort through to find the good ones.
This is very true. So one of the biggest things I learned is hire and fire as fast as you can. Like, this will make you a lot more money and make you lose a lot less. There's a big problem in agencies though, because sometimes it's a lot harder to, like, if you're training someone from scratch, because you want to be hiring cheaper people. So you want to find someone with good ambition who's going to stay to your company loyal, teach them. However, if you've got like a media buying agency or an email marketing agency, you teach them everything. There's a big chance they'll leave and start their own thing, which is a big problem. So like,
you need to screen that out right from the beginning. So I've like over time developed questions. So I'll start asking someone, what is your goal? I'll be very upfront with you. My role when you work with us is not just that you deliver the service. Like, my job is to help you grow into the type of person that you want to be. So who do you want to be? I like ask this to every single person I hire. How much money do you want to be making? Like, I try to get all that information out, because that's how I'm going to know, does this person just want to like learn? Like, if they say, oh yeah, I really want to start my own business, then I'm like, goodbye.
If they say they want to be an entrepreneur and make a load of money, but I want to learn from you first, say no. And this actually comes back to a funny story. I've got, when I first started out, I had a friend, Kamal, running a Facebook ad agency. I was broke, just finished uni, living at my mate's house. Like, didn't have a clue what to do, but I was like, just got into e-commerce. I messaged Kamal. I was like, bro, I know you got a Facebook ad agency. This is what I want to do. Give me a job. Obviously, I met him at the pub. We kind of had a friendship relationship. And he sent me a massive paragraph back saying, no, brother, I'm not going to give you a job. You can do this on your own. I was gutted, but I'm still friends with this guy today. And I think it was one of the best things he could have said to me, because if I got a job from him, it wouldn't have
Yeah,
nothing would have come from
100%.
it. So I
Yeah.
think, that's definitely
Yeah,
right.
there's certain types of people that are like more naturally geared towards wanting to run their own business, and
100%,
yeah,
100%. And you should be able to tell that most of the time, I think.
yeah. You can also what I've done.
Have a sip of wine, brother.
I've tried it, yeah.
It's not very nice, is it?
No.
It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Have a little
But,
sip though, because I'm getting a bit tipsy. Have a sip, little one.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong though. Barley wine.
If it was not that sweet, I would like it, but it's just too sweet. So the thing is, you can also use personality tests as a way to gear the type of people that you're going to work with. Like I've started doing this where anytime I see someone who's going to be like a good fit, and also with hiring, you want to make sure you interview at least like 4 or 5 people. Big mistake I made in the beginning was like the first person who seemed good, I just like, you're ready to go. Let's go.
Same as me.
Yeah, but it's way better to actually just have like 4 or 5 people, even though it takes longer and it's kind of like more of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to save you a lot of effort. And dude, the team is everything.
Everything.
Like, bro,
everything.
like your team, your company culture,
Everything.
and the way people show up to work, the effort that they put in, that's all built around like
100%.
hiring the right people.
So I was pretty much running my whole business blind for a year. Never really trained anyone properly, hired them, let them crack on with it. Little did I know that was one of the worst decisions I ever did. Business was losing profit some months, really bad months. It was up and down. People weren't turning up to work. I didn't even know. Terrible. So I was like, right, I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to get a grip and get a control on the business. Obviously, it's my business. And basically hired and fired the whole team. And the past 6 months, I've basically been hiring. And I had one of the best days yesterday.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
one
you
of the
had a
best
big
days.
one.
Yeah, super big. So hit about 37K in one day, which was pretty crazy. I woke up, I was like, that's mad.
Yeah.
Never planned, but that all came down to systems, people you hire. Basically, if I didn't put those systems in place, the store or the brand wouldn't even be capable of doing those sorts of numbers.
Yeah.
Because you have too many problems within customer support, returns, products not being right. So things you need to make sure. So basically, it's Black Friday this month, so it's a super big month for e-commerce, agencies, everything. Mm-hmm. Basically, the key pillars you want to get right to have a good Black Friday is obviously a good high-quality product. You want fulfillment and logistics right, so basically you know the orders are going to go out on time, and can your supplier handle at scale. Mm-hmm. Marketing, so you need a good media buyer. Did I say customer support?
No.
Yeah, and then obviously customer support as well. So I've got a format in my company. I've got a customer support manager, and then 2 VAs, and then the manager manages the customer support. And obviously, the key point is you need to micromanage everyone at the start. So that's what I wasn't doing. And were you doing that, Eva? Were you micromanaging people at the start when you first started?
Of course I was.
I wasn't.
Yeah, very interesting.
Bro, I had no clue.
Yeah, I mean, at first I thought, okay, I'm just gonna hire this person, and they're just gonna do the work.
Yeah,
and a lot of the time, I used to just think that the job was done now. Like, I hired them. They're an expert, they're going to just do it, and then I could just sit back and focus on something else. But then that's where you start to see all these problems come up, because what you learn when you bring on a new team member is that you guys are not seeing things the same page. Like, you think that you're on the same page. Like, you say, okay, we need to create this specific thing. He's like, cool. Then you come back and it's like, well, what the hell is this? This is not what I asked for. This is not what I had in mind. And a lot of that comes from your systems, again, because you need to be able to effectively show people how they should be doing their job. That's what kind of comes. So going back to micromanaging, these days I don't really focus on that. I try and hire the best people possible, and then put them in a position where they are responsible for their own quality assurance, and they know I'm going to review it. They're not going to, because you also need to set a standard where in the beginning, I'll try to keep people on their toes a little bit, so they can see no, this is not going to be a job where you just coast back and just barely get the work done. I want them to feel a bit of pressure from my side that they're going to be evaluated on this, and that I'm actually looking to see what's going to be their result. But as soon as we can kind of establish that relationship, I step off a little bit and I let them make their own mistakes.
For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I do hire an agency or a freelancer, I sort of put them through a trial period. I don't tell them, so I micromanage them for a bit, tell them what to do with SOPs. A SOP is basically a standard operating. SOPs. It's basically, I call them SOPs, bro. Okay. It's basically standard operating procedures. So you basically outline all the tasks they need to do. But in this trial period, I basically look at them, and if they do extra work, that is stuff I wouldn't even think of, I'll be like, yeah, they're good. And if they basically work more than they should in the initial period, and they're giving more than they should have, that I've asked them for, I'll be like, they're good.
Yeah.
But if a key important thing for me, because obviously I'm the brand owner, he's the agency, so we work together. The key thing for me as an owner is communication. Basically, I want you to be there when something needs to be solved, which is a thing with an agency as well. Like you've got to be there for a brand.
Communication is huge.
Yeah, massive. If someone and the other thing is, if there's a problem as an owner, I want it to be solved, and we'll figure it out as a team. But if, let's say, the agency comes back with like backlash, like, nah, you haven't paid us to do this, but like, I don't want to talk about that. If you need extra money, ask, we'll sort it out. But you don't want to create friction between each other, because I'll fire you straight away. Pretty much.
Yeah, no, that what you just mentioned there is a huge thing. I've noticed this with some team members that are higher as well, is that they're not willing to put in extra work because they're like, well, this is not what you paid me to do. But I actually say to them, like, look, the money is not the issue. If we need to spend more money, tell me. I don't mind. But it's about solving problems. Like, the reason I'm hiring you is to solve a specific problem for me.
Yeah, exactly.
If you hire an agency, you can't just, like, they can't just come to you and say, oh, well, you know, we can't really do this. Like, that person hates money, and they're probably going to fail as a business owner, because the way that you get successful is that you figure out how to add more value, and then you figure out how to charge accordingly. So I would say, okay, this needs to be fixed. Oh, wow, I just noticed this is still wrong. Like, I would treat it almost like my own business. So I'd be looking at everything in their systems and always thinking, how can I just make it as good as possible? How would I want it if I was like running this business? And then if it's not part of our initial scope, I don't just sit there and complain and say, oh, well, no, I'm not going to do it. I will contact the business owner and say, look, this is a big problem in your business. How can we make this work? This is what I recommend. This is how much it's going to cost, you know?
Getting back to the 10K per month, are you happy with your results within the 6 weeks you've been here in Bali?
It's definitely been, it was a little bit of luck, I won't lie. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say...
Right, so there's a difference between luck and being prepared when the luck comes. So you're lucky, whatever, but you prepared to be lucky, to be able to take that opportunity. So there's a difference. Like, if someone else was in his shoes, they wouldn't have been able to get the clients because they don't even know what an email is. Or how to, do you know what I mean? It's preparation and luck.
No, there was so much
timing.
preparation involved, and I wouldn't even be able to take on this many clients as I have this month if I hadn't spent the whole year building systems, building SOPs, as you call them, SOPs, and really like dialing in all of those processes, because I've been able to kind of essentially just hand off all of these projects to my team, because my team is so well trained. They already have tons of experience doing it. I found myself actually working just as much as I was back then, but now I'm obviously just bringing in more revenue, and my clients are getting even better results because the team gets even better. So it's been good.
So basically, to scale a company, it requires SOPs. So you basically got to build these systems and then basically think how you can bring yourself out of the company. That's how you scale. Like, when you build a team, get people doing individual things. Like for email marketing agency, you've got a copywriter, designer, account manager, basically someone to speak to the client, and then obviously a salesman, which is my man, Jason.
Klaviyo is the last one as well. So you've got a copywriter, designer, account manager, and then sometimes you can
Klaviyo is software though.
Klaviyo is the software, but you need someone to actually set up these emails. So this is the...
Oh, yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
This is the methodology from like eMyth Revisited.
And what do you call that position? Someone to actually...
Klaviyo manager. Klaviyo,
yeah, fair.
Yeah, and this can be a different person. Sometimes it's also the account manager that just does that. So they'll be client-facing, speaking to their clients, and then also doing the setup. But the idea, this comes from eMyth Revisited, is that you want every single person to be only doing the task that they're specifically good at, like specially good at. You don't want your designer trying to set up your emails in Klaviyo, because they have different skill sets. You know, you want the designer to focus on design, you want the copywriter to focus on copywriting. And this is also really important, because if you just have one guy that's just managing everything, then what happens if he leaves? You know?
Exactly.
Now you have to go and try and find a new guy that can manage everything. Yeah. You know,
that's very true. You can't rely on that because people do leave.
Yeah, so it's way better if you just have SOPs for your designer.
Exactly.
You have SOPs for your Klaviyo guy.
Exactly.
And everybody is like a separate part of the machine.
So basically, you got to think of it like McDonald's. They're a really good example like this. So basically, they've got one person frying the nuggets, one person frying the burgers, one person serving at the counter, one person at the door on the drive-through. So you got to think, right, how can we separate everything, teach everyone specific skills? They can get that really good and scale that up. Also, if someone leaves, we can replace them really easily.
Exactly.
But obviously, you want people to stay and build long-term relationships, because that's how you build a big business. One thing I'd really say is, a lot of e-com brand owners are like, I want to hire the cheapest people, the cheapest VAs. Most people get VAs, which is a virtual assistant, or people working for you from like Philippines, India, Eastern Europe. In my opinion, if you want to build a long-term team, you need to give them bonuses. Basically, you need to give them a reason to work harder for you and make it like a team effort. So for me, how I make things a team effort, I have like a weekly meetings. Like today, obviously we had a really good yesterday, so I gave everyone in the team bonuses. The marketing agencies, my VAs, basically everyone in the team got a bonus because we did well. Like I've essentially organized everything. They're the one who put the hard work in. So you got to give back, and it gives them even more of a reason to stay with the company. Yeah. Basically all of that.
Well, you're a cool client, dude. I would love
my clients
just gave me bonuses.
I'm a cool client, but if something's wrong, I get frustrated.
Of course, yeah.
Super frustrated. So I was working at not email marketing actually, a conversion rate optimization agency building websites. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to create beef, but they're basically an agency. They've scaled their business quite highly, which means there's so many employees, communication's super slow. I messaged one person, nothing will get done for 4 days. Actually, no, I messaged them last week, 7 days ago. The problem still hasn't been solved. They're just constantly passing them on. All their employees are not really trained properly.
That's a good example.
It comes down like
just hiring shitty people that aren't really like
micromanager or anything. Like the people I'm talking into Slack, which is like a group communication group. It's about website building. I should be speaking to a developer in the company, not a virtual assistant who doesn't know how to code. Yeah. Because I asked them a coding question, they have to ask 3 other people to get the answer. So yeah, I'm not using them again. But basically what I'm saying is try and keep your employees trained, communication quick, because companies that use you want that.
Yeah, and this is actually a huge point. In the beginning of this year, when I first started with building this whole team and building the e-commerce brand, or the e-commerce agency, email marketing agency, one of the questions that I kept asking myself for about a week, it took a long time to kind of figure out. I don't know why it took so long in hindsight, but I was trying to figure out how can I make someone client-facing? Because I had this question, should I put my designers and my copywriters all in the same group as my clients, or should I just keep them separate and then the client only speaks to one person? And the reason I was thinking about this so much is because on the one hand, it makes things a lot easier if you just had your designer and your copywriter in. But the problem is a copywriter has not got, or like a copywriter designer, they're good at what they do, but that doesn't not necessarily mean that they're good at communicating. And you want someone who the client sees that makes them think, wow, this company has it together. They know what they're doing. They're on top of everything that they're doing. And
So one thing that's pretty crazy, I think, in this world is back in the day, obviously business used to be in person. So you'd go to the office, all your employees would be there. You could speak to each other face to face. Obviously we don't have that anymore. My whole team is all online. I haven't met any of them really. Except for actually my dad did go to Philippines to meet some of the employees, but most people, it is all online meetings. So how do you keep a good team morality and everyone strong and feeling like a team?
Yeah, this is something I'm still working on. It's like I think I'll be continuously working on.
That's very honest of you.
Yeah, well, what I've found is that everyone that's in my team right now, they work really well together, and the reason is because I spent a lot of time with them one-on-one, setting clear expectations, figuring out what type of person they were, what they wanted out of our working relationship together. And then also every person is different. Like for example, I've got one of my copywriters. He's got I think it's called there's one of these personality types that's very like structured and serious. I think it's the architect. That's what it is. So it's the architect personality type, and he's looking to someone that. So if he sensed weakness in me, like that I'm not able to like live up to his standards, he would start to resent working for me. And so I had to be very conscious of that in the beginning and actually show like, look, I'm actually really good at this. The reason that I'm working with you is because I think that you have the potential to be even better than I am, but I'm going to hold you to a very high standard. So I try to like instill that one-on-one with each person, and there's a little bit of communication. Like you have to. I don't think that it's possible. I mean, maybe with like lower level employees, but with the real people in your team that are showing up every single day, that are very, very important to the success of your company, you need to have ongoing like nurturing with them. You need to be sending them messages at least once a week and doing these calls, kind of like you said.
Yeah, I would say more than once a week for me personally. It depends what their role is, but with your core team in your business, you need to check in every day. a lot of the big guys, they have a daily meeting. Not me personally, I'm just weekly. Yeah. But every day I will message into that chat, and I was guilty of it before. Like, bro, I just wouldn't talk to the team, which is terrible.
Because eventually they
makes
don't
so
know.
many problems. Because it's all online, you forget. Like,
that's the thing.
You think everything's running smoothly, but if you carry on like slacking and not checking in, like things go wrong. So, yeah, you want to build a good team, create good systems, scale the agency, get clients, all of that. Basically, smash it as a whole. As Jason's done it, he's done really well. Right, guys. So today's been pretty new to us. It's been fun. I've had a really good time, especially with my friend Jason. I'm New Gen Nathan. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, feel free. If you want to reach Jason.
Yeah, you could reach me on Instagram at Jason Edward himself, or on Twitter at Jason Edward 97. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I always love speaking to people that are trying to build up their own agencies and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be working on the Twitter because Twitter is very important.
Twitter is super important. That's my big focus for going into 2023, especially now that Elon Musk is the owner of Twitter. I feel like
he's a dope guy.
I feel like you could kind of predict that Twitter is going to be in a very good place in, maybe like.
Yeah, I think they're going to be bringing out short form content as well. I also saw a tweet the other day, today actually. Elon Musk will build a phone if he needs to, if Apple bans Twitter and that off the App Store.
Why would they?
I don't know, he just posted a tweet about it, but if Elon Musk builds a phone, I'll definitely be buying it. I'm a big fan of him.
He'll literally build a phone just because Apple would ban. Yeah, that's interesting. Like a Tesla phone.
So he posted a tweet saying he doesn't want to build a new phone, but if he has to, he will. So if Twitter gets banned from the App Store, if they're getting censorship, whatever, from the Apple phones, the Android phones, then he has no other choice. But obviously, starting a phone company is not quick and easy.
Then it's a war against censorship, and that's the world we live in right now. We've got people that want everything to be like censored, and then we've got people that want anyone to be able to share what they want, which is freedom of speech, which is actually the human right. Like, so.
Yeah. So crazy. If you're not onto Twitter, I'm going to give Elon Musk a little shout out to say get on Twitter. Stop using TikTok. I was using it for quite a while. It's a terrible app. It numbs your brain. There's no information on there. The people on there are ridiculous. I'm on there myself. Check me out. But for marketing. But yeah, don't personally use the app yourself. It's a waste of time. Twitter has information that is educational, and you can learn off some very important people, especially in the e-com space, crypto space.
Yeah.
All of that. So definitely get onto it. Follow me at New Gen Nath. Everything's New Gen Nath at the moment. So yeah. Check it out. It's been super fun. Cool. Sick day. Bali's great. You should definitely come here. Nice to meet you guys. Peace and love. Little handshake.
Peace and love.
Out.